Greetings, peace, and blessings to you, your family, and loved ones. My name is Nana Bakai, and if you come to my channel, you'll see that I have a variety of different videos on a variety of different topics. This topic is about psychic readings, and what I would like to present to you is my perspective on this so-called New Year and the possibility for you, if you are interested, in getting yourself a yearly focus reading. I use the I Ching because the I Ching will help guide us through the coming months. When asking them what we should focus on, the Oracle will outline for us various different observations that we can take into account as we move through the next few months. So, it seems we have glided into what is being called the New Year. Isn't that interesting that we are in the dead of winter and calling it a new year? Well, it's certainly a new fiscal year for the banks and tax season. However, there ain't much new happening if you live in a temperate climate like here in the U.S. Have you ever noticed that the United States continent is waterlocked by 2 oceans and landlocked by 2 countries, and has all 4 climates within its borders, not to mention the climatic and weather changes in between? We could get into the whole climate change debate or geoengineering, but that's not what this video is about. So let's go back to the supposed new year. Again, the thinker may wonder how it came about to be a universal, or shall I say, global turn of the year. Midnight, January 1, the fireworks and rifles shot off, the champagne bottles popped, first of the year kisses were planted, drinks toasted, and celebrations that began with Thanksgiving began to wane for just a few weeks. But it's still the dead of winter in most of the northern hemisphere, and for some reason folks are celebrating something new, in fact a whole new year. Not the trees, not the grass, not the animals, not the birds, not even the insects, but the humans. They are celebrating something new, as if it really happened. But what really did happen? Well, who really knows, except that our spending during the previous weeks may bring in some new bills and some new headaches. If you do a little research, you will find that the winter solstice is really the culprit behind all this jollying. The Catholic Church, in its effort to bring more converts into its fold, decided to incorporate the winter solstice into the birth of Christ and hold on to the traditions of the pagans while fomenting hostility against them. That sounds familiar. You know the old, we don't like protesters, so we will water cannon them, but we will support the rebels in other countries. But please, don't let me get off topic. So let's look at how we got bamboozled to celebrate the new year on one of the most ungodly cold days of the year, January 1st. I don't know about you, but seriously, tromping around in scant clothing on a cold winter day in parade regalia is a bit out of biorhythmic cycle. Poor bones and freezing toes and fingers, but the party and the parade must go on after all. It is New Year's Day. So have a beer and toast the Super Bowl ads, winners, and sports parties. And remember those resolutions. Did anyone resolve within themselves to save their money and spend less during the next holiday season? Because if you did, those telemarketers and robocallers will try all they can to change your mind. They need you to spend, and consume to keep their hope alive. Now, back in 1582, Pope Gregory XIII decided he wanted to start his own take on this time construct and do a little dabbling with the Julian calendar. See the link in the description below for the Wikipedia version of this debacle. Imagine the hubris. I just woke up one day, I am the Pope, and I can decide how people in my world can measure time. The irony of it all is that it's exactly what folks have been doing ever since 1582 without missing a step, except for the Jews and Muslims and a host of other folks who have made up their own calendars. And of course, we can forget about the Mayans, whose calendar has been purported to be the most accurate calendar as it relates to the Earth's rotation around the sun. Ironically, just for the sake of continuity, there's the need for one focused calendar, while the other lesser calendars are utilized, making the world and its inhabitants in the industrialized world a bit schizophrenic, along with all the other out-of-cycle things folks in the industrial world do. 2019 and various calendars. I want to quote something to you from Wikipedia. Quote, "The Gregorian calendar is the most widely used civil calendar in the world." Listen to the word civil. Don't you like the way that sounds? It's named after Pope Gregory XIII, who introduced it in October 1582. The calendar spaces leap years to make the average year 365,2,425 days long, approximating the 365,2,422 day tropical year that is determined by the Earth's rotation around the sun. The rule for the leap year is as follows. Every year that is exactly divisible by 4 is a leap year, except for the years that are exactly divisible by 100. But these centurial years are leap years if they are exactly divisible by 400. For example, the years 1700, 1800, 1900 are not leap years, but the year 2000 is. The calendar was developed as a correction to the Julian calendar, shortening the average year by 0.0075 days to stop the drift of the calendar with respect to the equinoxes. To deal with the 10 days difference between calendar and reality that this drift had already reached, the date was advanced so that 4 October 1582 was followed by 15 October 1582. There was no discontinuity in the cycle of weekdays or of the Anno Domini calendar era. The reform also altered the lunar cycle used by the Church to calculate the day for Easter, restoring it to the time of the year as originally celebrated by the early church. The reform was adopted initially by the Catholic countries of Europe and their overseas possession. Over the next 3 centuries, the Protestant and Eastern Orthodox countries also moved to what they called the improved calendar, with Greece being the last European country to adopt the calendar in 1923. To unambiguously specify a date during the transition period, dual dating, as I mentioned earlier before, or schizophrenia, is sometimes used to specify both old style and new style dates. Due to globalization, in the 20th century, the calendar has also been adopted by most non-Western countries for civil purposes. The calendar era carries the alternative secular name of Common Era. And that ends the quote from Wikipedia. Interesting. We will not analyze the idea of the tropical year, the Julian calendar, the equinoxes, and the celebration of the globalization of the calendar in the 20th century. We won't even look at that word globalization. However, let's move forward. Is the Earth really rotating around the sun? Or is the sun rotating around the Earth? Jeez Louise! We can't even talk about the construct of the Gregorian calendar that has subjugated the planet since 1582 without getting into all kinds of other political babble. Bah humbug! The New World Order. It looks like you have been active ever since the Council of Nicaea back in 325 AD. Now hold tight, because I'm going to talk to you about how you can get that reading. But let me move forward with the rest of my commentary. So anyways, to me, a new year is when I see green sprouts coming out of the ground, out of the trees, and fruit flies are multiplying again. Otherwise, ain't nothing new except taxes are due. I'm a poet, and I know it. And while I'm at it, let me read a passage posted by Chief I Ching on Instagram. And I quote, "The saga continues. How can it be a new year when plant life and the potency of the sun's energy is dead in the winter solstice? The mindfuckery is still at an all-time high. When you celebrate so-called New Year's, what you are doing is offering yourself as a ritualistic sacrifice to the Roman god Janus. The term Janus is the origins of the word January. Janus is the Roman god of the beginnings, doorways, gates, traditions, time, etc. Therefore, once you summon Janus, you're opening up their gateway to control your past and future, which is your entire existence and beyond. This is why Janus is considered a two-faced god, because they look to the past and the future. Additionally, the Vatican, being the gate for all the secrets of the world, is the home for Janus. The Jesuit priests are the primary gatekeepers. The Pope, their front man, is the modern-day Janus with his mitre, being shaped like a fish, symbolizing a two-faced deity that has and still is controlling the global population through the age of Pisces, the mythical Jesus period. The age of Pisces, mitre Jesus fish, is long gone, but Janus, the Pope, looks to control everyone and everything from the time period of both the past and future. We are actually in the age of Capricorn, the Baphomet, the goat of Mendes. How could civilization move forward if they're stuck in the past? This is why Janus, the Pope, represents the gateway to higher consciousness, since he and his handlers control all the secrets of this world from both the past and future. And that mindless puppet, Jay-Z, has the nerve to talk about he has the keys. No, Janus, the Pope and the Vatican, is the one who has all the keys. Even the word janitor derives its origins from Janus, because the janitor has all the keys. Once they, the Eurocentric ruling class, have your mind, then they have your entire destiny in their hands. Thus, entire generations thereafter will indefinitely be programmed under intense, mind-controlled operations. The science is self-evident." Unquote. And that's what Chief I Ching has to say about the new year. Moving on with my commentary. In the meantime, for those of you who still would be interested in what the oracles have to say about the coming 12 months, contact me, and I will be more than happy to give you a yearly focus reading. We will cover several topics like health, career, business, family relations, educational pursuits, etc. Now, the I Ching knows we are stuck in the illusionary construct of time, and it is willing to guide us through our own delusions, hoping to get us on track following the Tao of it all. Personally, the real new year of journeying for our individual soul's destiny is the day we were born. That, to me, is the most opportune time for a yearly focus reading. However, if you would like a sort of roadmap of what to expect as it relates to your own personal life, feel free to contact me at metaphysicalnana@gmail.com. Bring a friend and get a discount. Now, I use the Zoom meeting platform. It has a great teaching tool, works well with PC, Mac, and cellular, and allows for recording all sessions for future reference. Let me end by thanking all who stopped by. New folks, please subscribe and push that notification button to be updated about all my new uploads. And for the returning ones and all of you out there, be sure to leave a comment. I'd really love to hear from you. So, peace and blessings to you, your family, and loved ones. And by the way, Happy European New Year.